Hey guys, I'm Nick, and today we're going to be talking about budgets. So, I have the personal budget template that I use in the comments below. So, feel free to download that and follow along using your own data to create your own personal budget. So, most bills are monthly, so we're going to make this a monthly budget. The first thing that you'll need is your take-home pay. So I'm going to start this example. Say my take home pay per paycheck is, we'll say $2,500, but my paycheck is twice a week. So we'll be conservative and say there are 2 weeks in a month. There's a little bit more, but we want to be conservative here. So we'll say 2 weeks in a month. So we'll say about $5,000 is my take home per month. And then in this next line, we're going to put my wife's salary, we'll say, for this example. This example will say maybe she makes 2,000 per paycheck times the two for 2 week two 2 week periods in a month, so 4 weeks in a month. And then we'll also put any other income that we see in a month, and we'll say maybe we have a roommate that pays $500 a month, or if you had something else that makes you income in a month, like maybe some interest on a loan or interest on your savings account or something like that. Usually it's pretty negligible amounts, but that's what we're going to put in this example here. And we're going to say we don't have any other jobs. So this is our total income in a month of $9,500 of cash that we see coming in on a monthly basis. All right. So next, we're going to go to how much are we spending per month? So I'm just using estimates here. So for housing, for rent or mortgage, depending on which one you have, we're going to say that our mortgage is 3,000 a month. We pay an HOA of 100 per month. Home improvements, we're going to estimate 100 per month. And for all these expenses, it's probably a good idea to go back to your last last couple credit card statements and bank statements and figure out how much exactly do you spend on a monthly basis to get a good estimate. Because if you don't have a good estimate in here, you're not going to be able to figure out a good budget. So next, car payment. Maybe we have a $300 car payment. Gas, maybe we have spend $100 in gas. Maybe one of us commutes and one of us works from home. Maybe something like that. Other, as far as oil change, small repairs, maybe you have a newer car, so it's cheaper. If you had an older car, maybe you'd be more likely to spend more on small repairs and things like that. For utilities, we have electric here. I'm just going to say 100 for that, 100 for water and sewer. Gas, maybe we spend an average of 30 per month. Internet and cable, maybe 50 per month. Phone bill, put 50 here maybe. Groceries, we'll say, what should we say? Maybe we'll say $500 per month for groceries. Dining and drinks, we don't go out too often, we'll say. So maybe 200 there. Travel and entertainment, if you go to sports games on a regular basis, if you travel frequently, maybe you put how much you average for that. Even if you only take one big trip per year, maybe you split that up per month and guesstimate what you're going to budget for that. Membership, we'll put 50 for gym membership there per month. And then one thing I forgot to add, maybe we'll add like subscriptions, video subscriptions, or just subscriptions in general. And you can break this out into individual lines for each one. If you have Netflix and Hulu and you have Spotify or something like that. But we'll say we spend about 50 bucks per month on subscriptions. And you can adjust that if you need. Uh, put whatever amounts you think you actually use here. So our total expenses are about $5,000. Our income's $9,500. So we spend about 53. We For our budget, we're spending about 53% of our take-home income. So we're saving 47% of that. We're saving 4,400 bucks per month. Now, to be able to visualize this and figure out where you're spending the most and figure out where you can maybe save some money, we're gonna put this into a table here. I just unhid these columns here, and this tells us what percentage of and how much of each of these categories. I put each expense into a category to kind of group them together to make it easier to visualize. So housing, we're spending the most in, spending 64% of our oh, percent of income. Let's do percent of expenses. Sorry about that. Percent of expenses makes more sense. There we go. And I think we need to we'll add in the subscriptions. And this is a good example if you want to add something in. This autofilled these two formulas and everything looks good there, except let's drag this down to include those subscriptions. So if you wanted to add a category, that's how you would do it real quick. And so 64% of our percent of change that to spend. 64% of our spend is going to housing, 10% going to transportation with those cars, 10% going to grocery bill, and we have a little bit going other places, 6% to utilities as well, which you could group with housing if you'd rather group it there. So, and let's we can move these to be able to read those better on this chart. All right. So that's really all you have to do to make a budget. Now, the hard part of budget is sticking to that budget and staying accountable. So that's why I have this second tab here, this actuals tab. So I like using this tab for tracking my monthly spend and how much I have in my checking, as well as how much I have between all of my accounts each month. So we're going to say, so a good way to do this every month, go through all your credit cards and we'll type in the date. Maybe we'll do this at the beginning of each month, right? So start off with 12/1/2025. Maybe in our checking account, we have $5,000, but then we have credit card fees of, on credit card one, we have $1,000 of spend that hasn't hit our account, our credit card account, or sorry, our checking account yet. We have another 2,000 on this credit card for a total of $3,000 to spend. That is that has not yet hit our checking account. So our balance between the checking account and our credit cards is $2,000 left over. Maybe we have $10,000 in our savings account, and maybe we have $1,000 of stocks or something like that for a net of net of 13,000. And then next month we have, put the date in there. We have maybe we have $6,000 in our checking account now, and our on credit card one we have $500 because we paid some of that off. Credit card two we have 1,000 total spend. We'll drag these formulas down and we'll drag this formula down. savings account. Maybe we put another $1,000 into our savings account and still have 1,000 stocks. So our difference between those two, we have $3,500 more than the previous month. And let's get a good trend going here. Let's do one more. All right, and here we have 7,000 in our checking account now. After we checked it, we have $1,000 on our credit card one again, and we have 1,500 on the next credit card. Drag these formulas down, drag this formula down, and our savings account. Maybe we have 12,000 now. We put another 1,000 into our savings account, and still 1,000 here. If we drag this formula down, we only saved 1,000 between those 2 months. So we can take the average of that. So we can look down here for the average. 2250 is how much we averaged uh, in saving each month. And that's not nearly what we had budgeted. So we might want to go back and reevaluate how much we put in all these categories to figure out where we actually spent money and how much money we spent in the last couple months. Now, traditionally, there's a lot of different theories on how much money you should be saving each month, but you want to make sure you're saving some money. You want to make sure you're spending less than you're making each month. And I've I always have heard at least 10%. I mean, the more the better. But if you're saving at least 10% of your take-home pay, that's not bad. So I hope you enjoyed this video. That's all I had to share for now. Please, uh, please like this video if it was helpful to you. Feel free to comment, ask any questions or anything like that. I'd be happy to get back to you and see if I can help you in the future. Thanks so much. Have a good one.